we're gonna measure how many tolls to cut this piece of exhaust pipe to fit inside of our supercar to make a box. That many tolls. That's how many tolls it shall be. Right there. These are in the way, and all they do, according to Chris, is assist unburnt fuel in turning into flames in the headers. So this is how I fix them being in the way. Modified. Now when the insurance lady asks, is your smart car modified? I have to say yes. There, that should give us some half decent clearance. So this pip is gonna go in the corner, in that corner, and we're gonna make a box around the motor, because up here in Canada, you have to have a firewall around your motor, and this is kind of in the middle of the car, so it's not allowed. It's a mid-engine sports car because the engine is in front of the rear axle but behind the front axle. We're gonna cut this. Might help if it's plugged in. So today is the tomorrow of yesteryear, and we're gonna work on this car again after I go pee. After I push this out. We're gonna weld this up. This piece of metal, the one pipe's just a little bit off by a quarter inch, I just checked. So now I'm gonna straighten it out with the Mexican press. Wait, I need to stand on this. Whoa. Nope. Needs to go more.
So we're going to go do some more welding.
Oh, I'm supposed to go over there now. 1 second, I'll go over there. We're tack welding this in place, and we're going to take it out and weld her up. Chris, you want to hold that side? Chris, you're not holding it.
I'm holding it.
Excellent. Now we're going to paint it red. We're going to silicone this. We got this metal. Now we're going to make it fit the frame. It's only 12 gauge. But it's very dank. Whoa. Now we gotta do lots of trimming and cutting, and slicing and dicing, and drilling and riveting, and painting. So I cut this all to shape, and while I was doing that, Chris drilled out the frame, and we drilled out some holes every 7 inches in here, and then some of them didn't quite match up, just a few of them, so we took the drill bit and we just ran it through just to make sure they line up. And all that did was just took a little bit out of the top plate and a little bit out of the frame and made them line up perfectly. So we got all the rivets in. Now it's time to clean up the plate, paint it, and make the 2 side plates. Welcome to Paint Booth 3.0. We're gonna paint. So we've got the firewall partially in, the first part of it. and it cranks. This is pretty exciting. So we're gonna take out the motor again. It's about a once a week thing, and then we're gonna work on some more mounts for the jack shaft. So we need to make a jack shaft to get power from this sprocket down to this sprocket, which is off-centered, because the motor's off to the side to give us lots of room. So what we've got is we've got two 1-inch bearings here with a 1-inch shaft cut for a keyway. That doesn't quite fit on because there's a little bit of rust on the shaft. We're going to go sand it off. These sprockets have been cut to be able to slide a keyway in there. So they'll have to be cleaned up, keyway put in there, and we're going to weld both sides of that. The keyway is going to take all the tension and the weld's just going to hold it from side to side. And we're just going to make a mount on each side just inside the frame rail here, welded to the frame rail with angle iron is what it's looking like to hold the jack shaft. So let's get at her. So we decided we're just gonna weld this bar in solid right across, and then we're gonna let these sprockets spin freely on here. So now actually we're gonna make mounts for these bearings to go on. See, because they're real dank, they spin real nice, and these are gonna blow apart quite often, but they're only 13 bucks a bearing until I can afford some some no friction, high speed bearings, because these are gonna spin at like 13,000 RPM. It's such a small gear. So what we might have to do down the road is put bigger gears on here, but we'll deal with that when we get there and blow these bearings out first. Because why do it right the first time when you need something to break so you can fix it? So I cut this piece of the chicken wing suspension out just to get clearance for the chain. Next we're into this. We can get the chain to sneak through here, but we're just going to need that extra ½ inch of clearance. So we're going to have to weld this on the back, and that's what we're going to do now. So this is our jack shaft, and I quickly made those mounts up, and we're going to put this on. So I just tightened the two bearings down, so now that's official. And now we're just going to put a chain on it, and we're going to see what happens. Because I could zip tie that like that maybe. I could try. We got the Smart Car safety kit. It's got a PSI gauge. So we got water, we got some gas, and we're gonna put the water in it, make it suck up some gas. So I've taken it out of reverse, we're going to fire it up and see if she'll idle, or try to fire it up. My rollover's not up straight.
Yep.
Let it prime.
Try choke.
So the jack handle is now our clutch handle, and I found a clutch handle handle off of the exhaust servo, which opens and closes the exhaust, make it quieter and loud, and we have it so it's gonna be loud. So we were getting ready to drive it. We had her running, but she just kept on conking out on us. And what we had in there to get her running was a McDonald's straw, and you guys all know how strong those are. When they kink, nothing gets through them. But what happened was the vacuum of the gas was kinking the straw. So we went to our parts department right there, and we found this hose, which looks like it's a power steering hose. And we're just gonna cut it off and put this rubber piece into the jerry can. And if that kinks, I'd be surprised. And then we'll just use this metal piece. So let's cut the end off of this real quick. Shove that in there while it's still warm. Hot metal's always best around gas. Always. Put that there just because it looks cool. Just like that. So now that should run fantastic. So we'll drag her out and see what we can do. Here we have our permanent GM approved mechanic chain tensioner. So what this does is it just rides on the chain there and keeps it from flopping around. And we're gonna have to make something for this one yet after we tighten that down. So we've got our earplugs for safety. Our gas tank is secured. We've got our ground here, very permanent. We've got our permanent chain tensioners, and we've got our 100% permanent gear shifter. And this is to pull her down into first gear for our test.
And our permanent clutch.
And our permanent clutch. Everything is permanent. This is how we're going to drive it down the road.
And
we're going in for safety
throttle.
On Tuesday, and today's Saturday, or Friday, sorry. So let's see if this thing will, if she works. Oil light was on, so we added a little bit of oil, just because we did a fresh oil change and it got the oil moving around and whatnot. So we should be good with the oil. We don't have the clutch in far enough, I think. And we're gonna try this again.
I'm putting my earplugs in. Give me a second. Josh, they're expanding.
Well, we tried. We kind of failed. We had to order a kickstand switch. So now we can do a little bit more fine detail work while we wait for the switch to arrive.
Okay.